Hello there, welcome to Talking Balearics with me, Martin Makepeace in Ibiza.
And me, Richie Pryor in Mallorca. How are you, Mark?
Better late than never, Rich.
Well, busy, Mark. Still busy.
I see you busy. It's almost dark outside. I think it's the latest we've ever done a podcast on a Tuesday, isn't it? So
It's been a very stormy day. I think it's been the same for you, isn't it, in Ibiza?
we haven't had the storms we thought we were going to have, and if this is a orange alert, mate, I'd like to see what red alert's like, because it's been a bit insipid, hasn't it, for want of a better word.
I think it did hit some places quite hard, to be perfectly honest, but it wasn't as bad as they made it out to be. I think it was supposed to sort of storm all the way through last night, through the day, and into tonight as well. But I'm sat here now. I mean, it's lovely. The temperature's good, once again bearable. It's been rain today, which is nice, and it's just a sort of nice autumn feel about it, Mark. Really, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's just taken the temperature down a couple of points, hasn't it? Really, so it's not. As I say, it's bearable because it was like an oven previously. So, how are you anyway, Rich?
Yeah, good, mate. Very good, very good, and got some good. Well, actually, I'm going to link a few stories together today.
Right.
I don't know if you've read this report in the Mail. The headline was, "The English don't come anymore. We miss their money." And Mallorca's war on British tourists backfired.
Oh, that's funny. We miss their money. The thing is, it's kind of true as well. By the way, I've got to tell you, we do miss their money, don't we?
Well, but I want to expand on that. But this is a piece written by a guy called Lawrence Dollymore. I don't think, to be honest, a lot of research went into it, to be perfectly honest, like always with the Mail.
No,
do you know what I mean? They've questioned a few people and they've got the answers they want and they just printed them. Do you know what I mean? So I've got that. In relation to that, I've been helping out a company over the last few days because a friend of mine went sick. But it really opened my eyes to how Magaluf and Palmanova is changing. I wanted to tell you about that.
Right, nice.
And in with relation to that, also, I read a report today that another airline is doing a direct flight from another country to Mallorca, which is really interesting, because I thought, blimey, that's a new one on us. So I wanted to talk about that as well. So yeah, so it's all sort of three stories all married into one, if that makes sense.
Perfect. So are you suggesting for 1 minute that Daily Mail make things up, Rich?
I didn't say they made it up. I just said that I don't think there was a lot of research gone into the actual piece itself, which is very much like the Daily Mail, to be honest with you. No offence if you're listening.
Lots of offence from me if you're listening.
and as I say, they had the agenda, and the only way they were going to prove the agenda was by talking to the people and asking them very loaded questions, and they got the answers they wanted.
I look forward to that one, Rich. I've got a couple of items. I've got the Ibiza Hall of Fame, which is a new initiative, which I think is very interesting. Something I think that we should be thinking about on the White Isle, because we really need to start banging the drum about our heritage. I've also got a little bit of immigration update, Rich, just touching on what you said last week. I've got some news of what's happening over here. And I've got some really sad news, Rich, as well, because I don't know if you read my blog late Sunday night. I happened upon a really bad accident in San Antonio on Sunday morning. I just wanted to just talk about that a little bit, and just about the driving in general, Rich, because we've had a real proliferation of accidents over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I think we just need to talk about that. But first of all, tell me about the Daily Mail, Rich, because I've got no love for the Daily Mail whatsoever. I've had many a spat with the Daily Mail over the last 10 years. So tell me all about it.
We've talked about this all the way through the season, Mike. I think that there are some places that are doing very well, particularly frontline businesses in Magaluf and Palmanova. When I say frontline, I'm talking beachfront bars, restaurants, cafes, etc., doing very well. But when you move off of the main part of the front line, you get to the second row and the third row, those businesses aren't doing so well. They're blaming the lack of British tourists, but to be honest, it's a case of Mallorca and Magaluf and Palmanova have to look at themselves and say, look, what are we offering? What are we giving the people? We can't be giving them the same things we given them 30 years ago. We've got to change. We've got to change our chip. And the only way you're going to be successful, I think, now is by changing what you do. Magaluf itself has changed so dramatically in the way that there's so many more families now than there were youth before, and there's a lot more couples as well. And the people that are coming I would say quite affluent people, to be honest, that have got money and are spending the money, particularly on the beachfront. And you can see that. I mean, I was there a couple of weeks ago, and it was 10 o'clock at night, and I looked out of the terrace of the restaurant. They had a queue of people wanting to come in to eat at the restaurant at 10 o'clock at night, which is very unusual. But when you know that it's more foreign people eating, which for them is quite late at night, is actually a thing that they do, not like the Brits that eat at 6 o'clock in the evening. You think, okay, so this is a change. This is a change to this resort. I wanted to then add that I've been helping out a company that do jet ski tours here. And a friend of mine was sick. He said, do you mind helping us out? I said, no problem. So I helped them out. And basically, it was just ferrying people back and forth from the Port Adriana, which is near where I live, to Magaluf and Palmanova. Now, I kid you not when I say I picked up Ukrainians, Iraqis, Norwegians, Swiss, Dutch, Italians, French, Germans. I could go through the whole of Europe, Mark, to be honest with you, and tell you how many different nationalities. Of course, I picked up Brits as well, and picked up some Irish as well. But it was so noticeable how different it probably was from, say, maybe 10 years ago, where the majority of, 9 out of 10 of those people would have been Brits. And I thought it was quite refreshing to see, personally.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the Brit domination of the Balearics is on the wane, Rich, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it has been in Ibiza for a long time. I think, in little pockets in San Antonio, a little bit in Playa d'Embossa, yes. But generally, I think we're still the majority at 25%, I believe you said a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. But you can just feel the other nationalities coming through. And as those countries, as you said, those countries being more affluent now, they're coming to these places, aren't they? And it's a refreshing change. I mean, it's a shame, Rich, because I liked it when the Brits dominated it. But, it's the new order, isn't it, of the Balearics, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, and so when you look at this headline for the Mail, and it says the English don't come anymore, risk their money, how Mallorca's war on British tourists backfired. Mallorca didn't have a war on British tourists. Yeah. I mean, it's absolute rubbish. Mallorca, the residents of Mallorca had a war on tourism in general. It wasn't just against the Brits, it was against all tourism. But it wasn't in reality against the tourists. It was against social housing and immigration. They're the main two big problems that we have, as many other countries do at this particular moment in time. So the actual premise of the story, for me, just didn't add up.
But the profile of the person coming over to Magaluf and Palmanova has changed, though, Rich, hasn't it? I mean, you go on about families a lot. Just tell me, Rich, what happens mid-September when all the families go back to school? I mean, is it mainly couples? Is that when there's a real big downturn in the bars because you're not getting the big groups anymore, or you're getting staggered hens? What's the profile of people that are coming over in like mid to late September?
You will find that obviously there's still quite a lot of, when I say families with very young children. It's Pram City, as we call it. It's like a mother care centre. Do you know what I mean? But that's what it is. You know what I mean? They're coming away with young kids before they're going into nursery or whatever, and predominantly couples, younger people. Normally younger people for the first 2 weeks of September because they're waiting to go back to uni. So you do see an uplift in the younger people travelling in the first 2 weeks of September. You see the odd family that have obviously taken the kids out because it's a lot cheaper to come here in September than it is in August, of course, as we know. But no, mainly you're looking at families with young children, and you're looking at couples.
Yeah, couples, yeah. Because of the big groups of lads, the big groups of girls, are they a thing of the past, Rich, or is that just for low season or peak season? When is it?
Early season, Mark. Yeah. The April, the sort of, before, well, it depends when Easter falls, of course, but you still get a lot of staggered hens coming in April time. We have a big rugby tournament, a beach rugby tournament here in April as well. That's always quite popular. So they still come, but once again, I think the resort's changing. It's not what it used to be. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And bars that are cafes or restaurants that are sort of saying, this is not what we wanted. Well, I think you're going to have to change, unfortunately, to be honest with you.
I think the third line people really are going to have to do something different, aren't they, Rich? Because I think we find it here as well. Back in the day when, we say that a lot, don't we, on this podcast, back in the day, like a couple of old soaks. But back in the day when we were really overrun by the British, the second, third, even the fourth line of bars and restaurants would be busy. But at the moment, people, and I think everyone's more affluent. They want front line, they want views, don't they? So get yourself a front line bar, and you've got a chance. I think even the third line now, unless you own it, if you have to rent a third line bar or restaurant, you're in trouble, aren't you?
Well, it may come down to the different municipalities looking at the second and third and maybe even fourth lines, however many it is, and saying, okay, so what are we going to do with these places? Do you know what I mean? Because you can't just leave them derelict, because it doesn't look good on the resort either. So you've got to start thinking about what are you going to do with these areas? You know what I mean? You're going to build parks, or you're going to build, I don't know, more hotels. Well, no, hotels probably won't work, but you've got to look at where you're going to do these things.
Well, you're going to have the have and have-nots, aren't you? Because you've got the haves there on the front, because you've got the front line with the views. And then what we found in somewhere like San Antonio, even Figueretas, places like that in Ibiza town, in San Antonio Centre, there's a lot of old shops that have closed down because there's no retail anymore, Rich. Nobody does retail anymore. So all these shops have closed down. I mean, what I think they should do is probably change them into apartments or change them into living dwellings.
That's not a bad idea.
Because at the end of the day, you want more people in town feeding the cafe bars and the hairdressers and things like that into town as well.
That's a great idea.
No, I mean, I think they're trying to simplify it over here. So fingers crossed. But you know what it's like, Rich. The wheels turn very slowly over here, don't they? Very slowly.
They do.
Hall of Fame, Rich.
Yes. Now, when you say a Hall of Fame, is this, are you getting your hands imprinted in the pavement or something, or how's it going to work?
No, this is an initiative by a guy called Alan Warman. Now, he's been on my podcast. He's a bit of a character, Alan Warman. He's the first guy I ever saw wearing a sarong over here, way before David Beckham. He was one of these outliers of fashion. He used to have a Stetson on and cowboy boots and a skirt. There you go, back in the day. Now, he was the first British club promoter on the island. In fact, he says he's the first promoter on the island in general. And what he's done is come over with a concept called the Ibiza Hall of Fame, where he comes over and he does a podcast. I'm talking about Javier from Mambo, for instance, Pepe from Es Paradis, people from the West End, Judge Jules, who I know you know very well, Paul Oakenfold, all the old names as well. And I think it's a really good initiative. Now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to speak to the town hall as well. And we're trying to add to it from the Hall of Fame. We're going to try and put the Walk of Fame there as well, Rich. Now, remember that walkway that we talk about very often from San Antonio West End to the Sunset Strip. Now, the idea is, and I don't know what the council's going to say about it. They'll probably say no in the first instance, but it's a case of getting it funded and selling it into them, of having a bit like the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's like going to be the Ibiza Walk of Fame or the San Antonio Walk of Fame. So you go down there, there's little paving stones there, either with footprints or handprints or maybe just a plaque in there as well. You've got so many of these artists and famous people over the years, and it's just something I think we need to riff on, Rich. I think the powers that be might try to deny that that's the market here in Ibiza, but it's not. Famous DJs, musicians, stars, locals, people who have made San Antonio and Ibiza what it is. And I think it's a great idea. I'm fully on board. I'm going to try and organise some meetings with the powers that be, and let's see what happens. But you never know. One day I might get a star on the San Antonio Walk of Fame.
Well, that was, of course, going to be my next question, Mark. You know what I mean? Undeniably, you should be there, really, shouldn't you?
As an administrator, Rich, I'd like to think so, but I'm not sure I'm glitzy enough. I mean, I know I have my running with reality TV, but I'm still not sure I'm glitzy enough as well. But I think it's a great initiative. I think that the moral of the story, Rich, is we should embrace our past, embrace our legacy, and run with it. And I think there's a lot of pushback in Ibiza, because we've talked about the powers that be going against the clubs or trying to eradicate the clubs from the history. When they go to the World Travel Market, they never mention the clubs or the bars. It's always the Falcon Trail or the super bikes or the marathons, which is great. And I'm all for it. We know in the Balearics it's an amazing place to come and practice sport, hiking, fishing, the Falcon Trail, things like that. So, we need to embrace it, but also we can't push back against our legacy and our history, and I'm all for it. And I think that the Hall of Fame will go with that, and I'm all for it.
Continue on the story of diversity happening in the resorts, and particularly we talked about Makepeace, but I think on the island, obviously, I think you're seeing this as well. Hell of a lot more Americans coming to the island. We have a direct flight from New York coming in every day. I think they're looking to increase maybe more from New York, possibly from Miami. There's been talked about, and possibly from Washington even, flying direct into Mallorca. Obviously, we've noticed a hell of a lot of American celebrities coming to the island more and more. We've obviously talked about it here on this podcast. us, haven't we? The amount of American celebrities coming, and I know you in Ibiza see that as well. Whether they come here first and then they go to Ibiza, or they fly to either Barcelona or Madrid and fly over from there. What I wanted to add to that is that just been announced today that Air Canada have announced that they will link Montreal with Palma from next summer.
Wow.
Yeah, so from June the 17th until I think they said mid-October, there will be a daily flight that will accommodate about 182 passengers from Montreal into Palma. I think that's quite exciting.
They're very exciting. I mean, it's good. I mean, the North Americans, I like the Canadians as well. They're nice Americans, aren't they, Canadians? So I met some Canadians at the weekend, and there were such nice people. But I think anything like that, Rich, I don't think we want to go too far down one road. I know there'd probably be some pushback on that because, you know, there are a lot of American voices out there all the time, and I think it's great, but they tend to do very short holidays. They tend to do 2 or 3 days in Barcelona, 2 or 3 days in Ibiza, 2 or 3 days in Mallorca. So as much as I embrace it, I think we just have to, you know, we can't cut our nose off to spite our face. I think we welcome everybody there as well, but I don't think we want to put our eggs in the Uncle Sam basket just yet. But no, I think it's good news.
No, and also I don't know if you know that weddings have become very, very popular here for Americans as well. I've got a few friends who are wedding planners here on the islands, and they've noticed a big upturn in the American market as well, which can only be a good thing, you know, to get people to see the island, whether it be on a plane or whether it be on a cruise ship, because obviously we've got a mountain of cruise ships coming in as well, and those people, you know, might see Palma and then want to come back for a trip on another time.
It's funny you say about the American kind of stars and sports stars and film stars, like Bezos and DiCaprio and those types. They do tend to go to Mallorca and Ibiza. You know that they see both of it because I think they like the grandeur of Mallorca being the capital of the Balearics, and they just like the party of Ibiza. So, you know, when they come over, I think it's a really good thing that they visit both islands as well. So that's a really positive point, Rich. Well done.
What else you got?
Immigration, just touch on that, Rich. I know you spoke about it last week. I mean, you gave the stats, were really quite frightening, the stats you gave out last week, so I'm not going to go through them again. Just a little update over here. I think we had over 100 arrivals this week on boats in the Ibiza and Formentera. So what they've done in Ibiza port, they've built 2 big tents in the port, which is basically a reception area, believe it or not. So they've built this reception area, and just to give you a bit of some stats, there's 500 square meters of it, which can accommodate approximately 120 people overnight. In a way, it's good that we're being organised and they're just not allowed to run off into the nearest village or the nearest shopping centre. But on the other hand, it just shows you that it's a problem that's only going to get worse as well. So, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot more to this conversation, especially over the winter, especially when the news gets a little bit lower. I think we might be speaking about it a lot or talking about this a little bit more. So, yeah, I mean, we're getting organised over here, but it's not necessarily a good thing, but at least we're doing it.
You wanted to talk about a road accident or something?
Yeah, just a final one, Rich. I mean, I on Sunday morning, I've got a new rucksack, so I'm doing a lot of travelling this winter. So our podcast might be coming from places all over the world this coming winter, as you do. And I hope it's big enough to fit Ryanair's new rucksack rules, Mark. Possibly, I don't know. I'll see. It's a bigger one than it normally is because I want to just take the rucksack travelling. Anyway, I was trying it out Sunday morning. I put some towels in it. I walked down and I stumbled upon a really bad road accident, Rich. It was quite tragic, actually. I probably missed it by 5 or 10 minutes. What happened was there was an Irish guy in a big Jeep Wrangler. You know, so there's big Rubicon Jeep Wranglers. And basically, he was seen sucking on a balloon. Can you believe this? A nitrous oxide balloon. I mean, what an absolute lunatic to do something like that. He was on the wrong side of the road. He bumped into 3 girls. One of them tragically died. I saw them working on at the roadside. It didn't look good. I actually happened upon a couple of witnesses there who I knew said straight away it didn't look look good because it was a really bad accident. There was another girl was critical, and another one was okay. She got discharged from hospital. So three young girls, one dead, one critical, one discharged. 23-year-old they are, Rich, you know, just walking on a Sunday morning, cut down in their prime. It's absolutely the selfishness of this guy is just knows no bounds. He was an Irish guy. We believe he was working on the island in some capacity. I think it was a rental car. And then the day after, another accident just round the corner from there, a really bad accident, which goes hand in hand. I don't know. There was two girls from the northeast who got cut down on the main road. It just seems to happen a lot, Rich. And it's more a question for our listeners out there. I mean, what can be done? What can we do on the islands to make the roads safer? Because I don't want to blame a generic problem across, because these are selfish actions by certain people. But what can we do, Rich? I mean, have you got any suggestions what we can do? I mean,
are these people coming back from the clubs?
No. This was 11:30 on a Sunday morning,
okay.
Rich. You know, the two girls on the main road, I think they were coming back from the clubs, and the other one was in the afternoon. So this is daytime, Rich. I really don't know. I'm a bit of a loss, really, because I just don't know what we can do. I know in San Antonio they've been on about making a promenade, a paseo between San Antonio and San Jose. They've been talking about it for 5 or 6 years, Rich, or probably longer. And they really need to do that, because that takes the pedestrians off the road onto the paseo, which is nowhere near the road. So I think if nothing else comes of it, then maybe we can push that conversation a little bit forward and hopefully get that done. Because, as I said, when it's not safe to walk on the road at 11:30 in the morning, Rich, you know there's problems.
I think you've got to also make sure, Mark, that the punishment fits the crime, to be perfectly honest. And, basically lock them up and throw away the key. If that's the case, you're guilty, and you've got to face the consequences.
I probably wouldn't normally talk about it, Rich, but just because I happened to witness the aftermath, it was, and I wrote about it, and I've got some serious traction on that blog post. I didn't do it for that, Rich. I've got over nearly 10,000 views on it, probably over 500 comments. It's really struck a chord, especially with the local community, Rich, because my kids walk on. Well, my oldest kid drives now, but my youngest kid walks on that little stretch all the time. Mm-hmm. It could have been any of our children. It could have been any of our friends as well. So I think it's really struck a chord.
We obviously opened today with the fact that obviously it's been storming here, but anybody that's coming over in the next few days, don't worry. That was just a little blip. I'm just looking at the temperatures now. Temperatures will go back to averaging around about 27 as a high and around about 20 as a low. So it's a lot more comfortable, as we say, in September. We both love September as a month.
Yes, September. And I just say, I'm just having a look because I've got a sunset view. Look at the sunset view. You can see that there, but can you see it? There you go.
Very nice.
Right outside my window at the moment. So September is a great time. I came back. I was in England for one day on a little meeting last week, and I came back on a Leeds Bradford flight, believe it or not, at 8:40 in the morning. And I've got to say, the atmosphere was great, and the age group was even better, Rich. It was probably between 35 and 60, the age group. So that's why I love September. It's an older crowd. Yeah. It's a fun crowd as well. So September's a great time to visit Balearics.
Good stuff. Listen, Mark, thanks for today.
Always a pleasure, Rich. Look forward to speaking to you next week.
Yeah, all right. You take care, Mark.
Cheers, Rich. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Make me dance.